Welcome, everybody. This is another installment of our Wednesday conversations that are part of our March on Milwaukee digital series. This month here in July, we've been talking quite a bit about the intersections of food and culture and the complexities that emerge as a result. As you all know, we are building a set of digital modules for teachers and educators to use. And this month, we just wanted to spend a little bit of time having a set of conversations that help us to reflect on what we're missing as a result of this pandemic. And that's all of our awesome festivals, all of those awesome activities that we get to experience, sharing culture, engaging with food and food production in rich ways, and then also all the important social political implications of all of that. So I'm Rob Smith, Associate Professor of History, Director for the Center for Urban Research, Teaching and Outreach at Marquette University. And my buddy over there, Adam Carr, you want to say a few things?
Yeah, I do a bunch of different things around Milwaukee. One of them is eat a lot of food and think about the places and the people that I get the food from. So I'm happy to be here today with two people who, if I'm ever around them and partake in their products, I know I'm making good decisions.
That's right. That's right. Great decisions. And we have with us two individuals, two names, two icons really here locally, Ms. Zakia Courtney and Mr. Manan Sabir. Welcome to you both. Welcome. Come on into the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah. How you folks doing today?
Really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
I'm doing pretty good too. Just kind of recuperating a little bit after a really great day yesterday in the garden.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, today, we're going to talk about a number of topics, and it's through the lens of urban farming, and our subtitle is Reconnecting Our Roots. So we want to get into a little bit of that, but we also want to get into your work around the broader notions associated with community wellness. We want to give you a chance to highlight not only where you've been, but what you're doing and where you're headed, and all of the ways that your experiences here in Milwaukee have helped to inform the roles that you all play in our city, and we're very thankful of what you provide and how you continually educate us and raise the social and wellness IQ of our city. So why don't we give you each just a chance to introduce yourselves, and then we have this process where we want to get people into the conversation pretty quickly. So we have a tool that we use to do that. So Ms. Zakia Courtney, you want to just do a short introduction of yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then Manan, jump in after that.
Sure. Okay. I have been vegan vegetarian for almost 30 years now. But prior to that designation, I am the mother of 6, but we have a blended extended family, so that's like 15. We have 52 grandchildren. We have about 25 great grandchildren. No great grandchildren yet. And so my love and experience with cooking vegan cuisine really simply came from wanting to provide something for my family that was better than what they had before. So if they had something that was a favorite food, just say like spaghetti. Everybody loves spaghetti. Well, when we became vegan, then what I wanted to do was make sure that my spaghetti was as good as what I had prepared before with meat, or even better. And so that part of my journey, I'm very proud of. I'm actually proud of all parts of my journey. I am an educator by profession, starting out at Urban Day School and extended through lots of different, journeys. And once I started to approach retirement, I started to get more and more requests, for food and for cooking. And so my journey as a chef really came out of demand, not something that I quote unquote went to school for or I sought to do.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're going to dig into some more of that, obviously, as we get into our conversation. So, Manan, what's going on, brother? Talk to us a little bit.
Oh man, I'm having fun right in this a very unusual period of time. But my name is Manan Sabir, and I am the co-owner of the Shindig Juice, also Shindig Coffee brand. We were at once called the Juice Kitchen. Actually, the name Juice Bar actually was kind of our first iteration before we landed on the Juice Kitchen. So it's quite ironic that we have that under my name, which is it brings me back. But even to take it back a little further, I got my start from my grandfather, and I have to always honor my ancestors as I try to do, as much as I possibly can. My grandfather was born in 1895, but in 1908 witnessed his friend being hung from a tree outside of a church. That led him to, at the age of 13, that led him to work on the railroads. But while working on the railroads, he discovered that he had a love for herbs, a strong love for herbs, but not a lot of education. So he utilized what was known as his own education to honor his ancestors and dig into herbs, especially using dandelion, the root dandelion, or also the leaf of the dandelion, to heal everybody in his family. So it was 12 kids, 2 wives, 6 on one, 6 on the six on the other. Everybody lived in the same house. And not everybody, if you had a broken bone, you would go to the hospital. But other than that, it was just, you would go straight to my grandfather. Everybody went to my grandfather, Gus Jackson. So, but he died when I was 2. Ultimately, my own life story led me to meet my wife, and then also I became a bonus dad, which in turn helped me to understand what I was actually put on earth for, which was to heal. And my son has a condition which it's called ectodermal dysplasia. And I always say it because I like to make sure that people recognize that it's a real life condition, that people, it's a rare genetic mutation, but it's something that people have that sometimes they may not have. One of the conditions is you don't sweat. And when you don't sweat, you harbor mucous membranes, and they gather and get really hard. Ultimately, that his condition at the age of 4 led me to juice for him. And he hasn't had a hospital stay in, I think he's 16, so almost 11, 12 years. So
Wow.
we after that decided to juice for everybody else, and from juicing at home to juicing for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for sharing. A shot of ginger a day for me, every day.
Yeah.
Every day. All righty, let's go to the next slide, and let's get the attendees into our conversation. Mr. Key and Manan, what we try to do is to keep these conversations as interactive as possible, both with the folks here in Zoom and the folks joining us on Facebook Live. And what we'd like to do is just ask folks to share a little bit about what we're missing out on this summer, given we're dealing with COVID-19. If you can just drop in the chat, folks, any of those festivals, any of those activities, the normal summer run here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is beautiful in so many ways. Share some thoughts about what we're missing out on, and let's get some even more recent nostalgia into our conversation. And we'll start with Ms. Zakia, and then Manan follow up. What are some of the things you feel like we're missing this summer as a result of COVID-19?
Well, Milwaukee is considered the city of festivals, and I give it that. Amongst all the other issues that we have, here in Milwaukee, it is known for the city of festivals. And so that every weekend you have an opportunity to attend, from neighborhood festivals to ethnic festivals, to even, Summerfest, if that's what your choice is. So while I miss the fact that it's not available, I don't miss the fact that we still have an opportunity to gather of sorts. And my gathering place, of course, is Alice's Garden. on 21st and Garfield. And so while we're practicing social distancing and we're mindful, of our interaction, with the public, it's still giving us the opportunity to really come together and celebrate, each other, celebrate what it is that what we've learned, from each other, celebrate our journeys, celebrate our families. What I miss most is my grandchildren. Many of them have now moved to Charlotte, but even for those, well, actually the younger ones who live in Milwaukee are actually in Charlotte right now too. So I just miss my grandchildren, but I have an opportunity to interact, with other children, in the community. And I find that to be, very, very satisfying. So always an opportunity to be able to teach and learn and explore.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. I used to live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I will say that I am far more active and outside more frequently in Milwaukee, Wisconsin than in Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of that has to do with how hot and humid it is in Charlotte, but it's also a testament to the commitment to being outdoors and engaging in outdoor activity that is present here, particularly in the months when it's not wintertime, but even when it's colder. Folks still get out quite a bit, which was a surprise to me. Manan, brother, what you missing these times?
I think what we're missing is some type of family environment. Like it's funny because through hook or crook, I've probably met enough of Mrs. Akia Courtney's kids and grandkids. So not like everybody else. They probably are able to run into them a lot more than I have. But I miss family, and I miss seeing them at. I have a large family, but I miss seeing them at some of the festivals like African World Festival,
Right.
even Summerfest. There's sometimes during period of Summerfest where you'll have, especially for Black people, you'll have like Maze and Frankie Beverly and some of those other acts that come through, and you run into people who you haven't seen in a long period of time. So I really miss those. I miss African World Festival, like the African World Festival, where you can run through on a Saturday or whatever day it is, and it's just like boom, Black people, and it's fun. So
Yeah.
that's what I miss.
And for those who've never experienced African World Festival like we have, they definitely don't know what they're missing. So Manan, when you talk about that, and yes, you are the age of some of my children, we could go to African World Festival at that time, and I was very involved in it, and would not have to worry about where our kids were at. They could go about doing whatever it is that they want to do. They come back just to get more money, and and then they're gone, for the rest of the day. You didn't have to worry about anybody bothering them, anybody trying to snatch them. It was absolutely one of the best things that ever happened to Milwaukee, and that's African World Festival. And yes, I miss that tremendously. So many stories, so many memories, and our children, including you, Manan, would say that you were raised on African World Festival.
Yes, man. I was definitely raised at African World Festival. I mean, and you're right. We ran end to end from one side of Summerfest to the other side. Even the forbidden areas that we got caught in, we would run from one side to the other, and it was just fun. I mean, if you want to know what Africa is like, that it was African World Festival.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so very much. I have an anecdote I want to share. I want to get your feedback on it. Adam, this is not at all related to our topic today, but kind of, sort of, in some ways. I was talking to a gentleman from Brazil a number of years ago, and he said, Rob, tell me the music, the artist or the group that you think most typifies African-American experiences, or if there's one group you would want me to listen to that kind of gets it, that kind of represents that cultural aesthetic, what would it be? And I said, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. And I know that there are hundreds of others, but the fact that you brought up Maze and Frankie Beverly in this conversation related to African World Fest, like that's so classic. And I just thought I'd share that. But yeah, Maze, if there's a summertime gathering, if there's a birthday party, if there's a barbecue, Frankie Beverly shows up at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, like Maze and Frankie Beverly are like they're the modern day drum beat, modern day djembe drum, or they use drums to communicate to other villages in Africa, and those drums would bring people together, and for whatever reason, you can put on Maze and Frankie Beverly, it can be a fight like between your two drunk uncles, and they will stop.
It will stop. Now they
The,
might go
ju- the
back to
ju-
fighting after the song, but
They
yeah,
will fight
yeah,
afterwards.
they'll do a little joy, then the pain
Yeah,
afterwards.
right. Ms.
all,
Zakiya, what
all
you
the
think
joy.
about that statement?
No, I think that's true. I mean, music moves us. Music motivates us in positive ways and negative ways. That's why there's so much dialogue about the music that modern day music and what messages it actually sending. So no, I absolutely agree. As I said, African World Festival represented the best of what it is that Milwaukee in the Midwest, I would say, definitely had to offer. So
Cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you both. Thank you both. Let's go to the next slide. Let's get into some